Welcome you all to day 46 of our anthropology lecture series. So today we are going to start this topic, that is religion. So in today's modern times where there is so much of jingoism and there is so much of religious fundamentalism, extremism, right? And religion is one such topic which I think is evergreen and do not go out of the relevance, anytime. So not only for the anthropology but also in GS as a whole, it is going to help you a lot. So this is one of those chapters which is going to be an eye opener for you, and we are going to do it in a very different way, a whole new perspective on religion. Okay, the idea of these videos that we are doing is not only just shared learning but also to understand and build compassion, to build a tolerance for others, right? And I am sure, if even if you do not like this chapter in the book, you are going to like it a lot and you'll be intrigued to know more about it once the lecture is done. So here we start. Let's get started. Before starting, the books, in all standard books, it is started from the approach of religion, but we are going to do it in a whole new way, so that by the time we read about it, आपको बहुत कुछ already समझ आ जाएगा. And one more thing, this chapter is very important in today's time, so इसका weightage in syllabus must be growing. Okay, so इसके बारे में we need to understand a lot. And also I have given a whole new perspective on the whole take of anthropological, the way we study religion. Okay, so let's start. Now first of all, let's start by using one or two definitions so that you understand basically religion क्या होता है. We all know religion एक in unconventional way अगर मैं आपको बोलूँ to describe it, we all will be able to say something or the other, but then academic discussion के लिए it's important to have a definition. So we have two definitions, one is by E.B. Taylor and one is by Durkheim. E.B. Taylor says in his book Primitive Culture that religion is belief in the supernatural beings. Okay, perfect. Supernatural हो गया which is beyond humans, right? Anything which is beyond human or superhuman, you can say, right? उन चीज़ों पे विश्वास, belief in those things is supernatural. Now definition looks okay because it at least encompasses many aspects, because it might not say this is the God we are talking about, but every religion believes in something supernatural. Supernatural तो है ही है, something which is beyond humans, right? So at least it talks about that, and so because of that the definition becomes a lot more universal, because एक aspect of religion, that is supernatural wala part, is covered in each religion, and that part makes the definition a little universal. ठीक है? Then Durkheim in his book Elementary Form of Religious Life says religion as a unified system of belief and practices related to sacred things. Now this definition is also widely accepted, because not only is he talking about the belief which even Taylor was talking about, he's also talking about the practices. So it takes into account the rituals or the material aspect of religion. Okay, see, you need to understand, ठीक है, whether it is marriage, whether it is kinship, anything it is, right? There are two things that is there with every institution. One is the material aspect, ठीक है, material, and then there is a immaterial aspect. Immaterial, you can say, is the feeling, right? Material aspect would be the rituals, those all things, right? For example, in the marriage, two people have a emotional bond forever. That is the immaterial part of it. But material part क्या होगा? Then they have to share the economic responsibilities together. Then marriage पे there are so many gift exchanges that take place, right? So many rituals that take place. That will become the material aspect of it. So religion में भी वही होता है one is the belief in the supernatural, that is one thing, and the other thing is the practices. That means what we do together, Havan, Bhajan, Kirtan, right? All of that becomes the material aspect, the ritual aspect of it. So Durkheim talked about both parts. ठीक है? So all in all, Durkheim की definition is also taken a lot, ठीक है, in academic discussions. So now I hope religion का something you have understood. मोटा मोटा तौर से if we have to say that it is some belief thing on things which is beyond the control of a man, right? Okay, so now first before going to approaches, let's study about the functions of religion, the elements of religion. ठीक है? अगर मेरे को बोलना हो what is the function of religion, so I would say it has many functions. First function would be that it creates virtue out of a social necessity. For example, what virtue? Virtue is some good value or trait, right? For example, any religion you take, it teaches good things, है ना, of how to become a good person, how should you behave in a society. For example, in Islam, there is a component of compulsory charity, that you must give away some of your assets as charity, right? Even in Sikhism, charity plays a very important role. ठीक है? So all these things are what? It creates certain virtue in us, right? So that becomes one thing. Second thing is stability. Somewhere down the line वो social stability लाने की कोशिश करता है. As we know, there was total anarchy at one point. You know, there were people and there were total disarray. Everything was in a disarray. So religion was brought in to have peace, harmony around the world, right? So religion आपको एक inner peace भी देता है, right? A peace with yourself and the peace with the world, right? So that is also one of the things that it does. It reduces inequalities, right? It tries to reduce inequalities. It tries to reduce conflicts, because everybody, for example, in a religion, if you cannot do one kind of thing, you all collectively would not do that thing, right? So एक social solidarity comes in, because every person, it's a collective thing. Okay, religion is a individual as well as a collective thing, because religion, when you're professing your inner peace, you know, you're finding that you're establishing a bond with the God, that becomes your individual part of the religion. But then there is a collective part of the religion also, जो हम सब मिलकर करते हैं, right? So that creates bonding, that reduces conflicts, inequalities. So all these are the good aspects of religion, right? The very reason religion was brought into the picture by the man. See, all these things, whether it is society, whether this is culture, religion, they're all super organic in the fact that though they were the brainchild of human, but humans have not outlived. It is these institutions that have outlived. That means जिस इंसान ने ये आइडिया दिया होगा, ठीक है, वो मर गया, बट रिलीजन रह गया, ठीक है, कल्चर रह गया, राइट? सो इवन दो दिस वाज द ब्रेन चाइल्ड ऑफ humans may come and go, but these institutions are there because they are dynamic. They are, that means they are also changing with the times. So religion should also change with the time to have relevance, right? So that is also a very important thing. Now religion is not all that great. While it came out to establish peace and harmony in the world, its negative also is that today there are a lot of conflicts, and there is, there are wars that are fought for religion, like the crusades, right? Today a lot of intolerance is breeding because of religious fundamentalism. So that is something we need to work on. So it causes these problems. Then it causes a problem like ethnocentrism. That means we start looking at things from the prism of our own religion. What we follow, what we do is we think is the only thing that is right and should be done. So it builds in a very narrow approach, right? A very narrow thinking mindset, right? So that is one thing. Then it promotes it prevents social change, as we said ki, religion can only uh, stay till the time it also evolves as the new, with the new modern perspectives, right? It also has to evolve. Then it creates authoritarianism. How? Because majority, if majority is there, authoritarianism, okay. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोई भी कंट्री है, इफ़ यू सी पाकिस्तान, at the time of independence they had around 12-13% minority, and religious minorities I'm saying, but today it is just come down to 2 or 3%, right? So what is this? It is that अगर आप religious authoritarianism करते हैं, then you do not respect the minority view, right? Minorities are subject to a lot of discrimination, right? So all these are certain good things, I mean good functions, and then there are certain bad things that there are. Now let's talk about the elements, okay? I'll just change the page. Yeah, elements. First of all, what elements क्या है, मतलब as in this can also be the function of religion, as well as elements means जैसे हमने बोला material, immaterial part, right? What are the different elements of religion? First thing is soteriological. Soteriological would be the end goal. What why have we, अगर हम individual religion की बात करें, why are we professing this religion? Your inner peace, right? Your inner peace, your bond with the God. But why is it for? It is for, you can say anything, it's for the salvation, for moksha, right? End में we want salvation, right? So that is what the soteriological element of religion is. That end goal क्या है, right? The first thing would be this. Second thing, you can say the theological part of it. Theological part is understanding what a religion is basically all about, right? Every religion teaches us very good things. Every religion has certain not so good things, because see, the times change, right? Today there is this hijab controversy of Karnataka that Supreme Court is hearing on that, right? And a lot of arguments are coming up from the Quran itself. The verses of Quran are read. I'm not saying, and I'm nobody to judge कि वो अच्छे हैं, right है, wrong है, and nobody should do it, right? Because the times that these books were written, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, whether it is Quran, any book, I'm not talking about only Quran, they were written in a different setting, okay? And you must imbibe the good aspects of it. And any place where you find कि कुछ issues हैं, we must address that also, right? So theological part is that only, where we study about the religion, the metaphysical part of it. What is the philosophy of religion, right? Then comes the anthropological view, which is basically the requirement जो हम पढ़ने वाले हैं. All of this what we are reading is the anthropological view. What religion means to a man, ठीक है? What functions or what role does religion have in the satisfaction of man's needs, right? Fulfilling man's needs, want, wishes. That is anthropological view, ठीक है? Or anthropological view or element of anthropology. Then comes the final thing, that is ethical element. Ethical element क्या है? Obviously what ethics do we get, ठीक है? Religion, as much as religion can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. The way how you inculcate in your ethical perspective, आप उसको कैसे लेते हो, that is what it is. So I hope now you've understood कि what religion is, what it serves to us, right? So now let's start with the topic that is there in our syllabus. जो the everything starts from here. So I hope now you will be able to understand it. See, in anthropological approaches now, in our book it is only primitive societies ka perspective it's taken, right? But today even the primitive societies are evolving, right? They are also not dynamic, they are also changing with the times. So is religion changing with the times. So we will take a lot more approaches to study religion, okay? So it started with the study on religion and how religion served the purpose to the primitive society started with the evolutionists, right? They were like Fraser, Morgan, Taylor. So these were the first people who studied, right? So मैंने कुछ और नाम भी इसमें डाले. They are not evolutionists per se, but then even they tried to study the approach to religion was evolutionary. ठीक है? So that is why I have written it here only. Basically evolutionary approach में what we are reading is they said they believed that religion was a problem solving phenomena and it was there for the satisfaction of human needs. So basically evolutionaries क्या believe कर रहे हैं? They are believing that it's a problem solving mechanism. That means there was certain problem or there were certain wishes of the man that were unfulfilled, and to fulfill those wishes or needs the problem solving mechanism was there. ठीक है? So John Lubbock, he did an early attempt to study the religion and its use in the primitive societies. So he said in the beginning there was no religion or religious views were not there. So atheism था, ठीक है? No belief in religion, ठीक है? Then fetishism came, and then nature worship came, totemism came, and last में monotheism. Now do not worry what is fetishism, totemism, because if I make you understand all these terms in this class, then we will not be able to complete this topic, and we will have to do that first. But don't worry, tomorrow we are going to do this. So आप अभी ये मत ध्यान दो, because अभी the topic that we are reading is not कि how the evolution happened. We are just seeing कि okay, this was an approach कि कुछ changes हुए होंगे, right? It's just this much, right? So इसमें even E.B. Taylor studied. आपने E.B. Taylor की definition भी देखी है. So he said animism was the earliest and elementary form of religion. So what was animism? Animism मैं आपको बता देती हूँ because that will become important in the criticism. Animism is the belief in the soul. ठीक है? So even today if you see in the modern times, we will just take this example like है ना, हम we believe, we do not we sometimes say that मम्मा बड़े आराम से कभी बोल देती है कि पंखा बंद कर दो, पंखा भी थक जाएगा, like that, मतलब it will also feel bad if मतलब not bad but it will get tired, right? Obviously the whole point is कि machines also have a life and they machines को अगर आप over utilize करोगे तो वो खराब हो जाएंगी, right? The point is that, but we think as if it has a soul, right? So that is how we understand the concept of soul, कि everything has a soul and everything can live, breathe, think, but ऐसा नहीं होता obviously. So this was the primitive idea, ठीक है? Primitive simple societies, they used to believe that there was a soul, and that was उन्होंने soul को worship करना start किया basically. That was the earliest form of belief, right? Herbert Spencer ने बोला ancestor worship was the elementary form. R.R. Marriott ने बोला mana theory. See, all of these we are going to read, do not worry about that. And आपको इतने सारे याद करने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है. You will automatically learn, मतलब they will become ingrained in your thought because we are going to read them again and again and again. So do not worry. Durkheim ने बोला totemism was the first thing. So basically evolutionaries ने उसका evolution study करने की कोशिश किया कि how the religion must have come in and how it changed over the course of time. ठीक है? This was the whole idea of evolutionary thing. ठीक है? So religion responds to man's intellectual or emotional needs. Now this was if I have to tell you, man's intellectual, see, if we talk about animism, which was given by E.B. Taylor, he said it was basically the belief in the soul, right? he came to this theory via a death dream hypothesis. Now what was this hypothesis? Like largely this, so we can say that obviously there was a time in the human evolution when there was no religion, right? So at that time, because the man was simple and it did not have a lot of scientific mindset, so whenever he saw a dream, ठीक है, any dream, whether it was a dream or a nightmare, he saw any demon or a good thing, a thing which was beyond the control, right? Today we know it is just a dream, right? But they used to attach this to a supernatural thing, that he kya ho raha hai, what is happening with us, why are we seeing these things? So they could not know this is not reality, right? Or if they would go and have water from the pond, and if they looked at their own self in the water, they would not know who is this person, because they have never seen themselves, right? So this death dream hypothesis, then death, they did not understand the idea of death. So all these things were a mystery. And man has a habit, whenever we cannot explain a thing, ठीक है, we believe that is supernatural, right? So he believed basically कहीं ना कहीं this death dream hypothesis, all these mysteries that humans had in their mind and all those queries, from there the religion must have started, right? So this is what his idea, E.B. Taylor's idea was about religion. So now this the whole thing, इसका एक critique ये है that it made the simple primitive man an intellectual man, because as we have talked in so many lectures before this, that they were trying to make their ends meet. They were doing hunting, gathering, ठीक है, they barely had food to eat, they had to run miles to get their food, right? So they did not, उनका necessity was not religion, okay? Their priority was not religion. So it made the simple man an intellectual man, right? So this is one of the critique, and this is also one of the approach to study the religion. Then emotional needs. Max Muller says he believed that religion was to satisfy man's emotional needs. ठीक है, fair enough. Why emotional needs? Because somewhere down the line man feels, see, emotional needs वाला point जो है ना, it's going to be covered in the next part, so let me not do it here. But Max Muller ने basically ये बोला था कि it is to मतलब satisfy man's emotional needs, which brings me to the next approach, which is the psychoanalytic approach. This approach also mostly talks about this only. Psychoanalytic मतलब psychology, related to psychology, that means related to mind basically, right? So इसमें we have two proponents that I am going to share today with you is Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. Okay, so now they think that religion operates in the mind of the individual. So even this approach आप Levi Strauss भी बोल सकते हो, because he also believed कि many things including religion can be a product of the minds of individuals, right? So all these things, do not worry, next chapter finally हम उस chapter में आने ही वाले हैं, anthropological approaches, where all these things are going to be covered. So do not worry if you cannot remember so much, just try and watch the videos 2-3 times, you will be able to remember it, and also we are going to repeat it again and again, तो आपको याद हो जाएगा. So then basically they believe कि religion operates in the mind of individual, that means it is like everything is there in the mind. So now how is that? First let us take the Sigmund Freud ka story. Okay, so Sigmund Freud has basically some hypothesis stories, or based on his studies only, what he has done in the future of an illusion or many others. Basically what he said, in the tribes there'd be like a man who would keep all women to himself, ठीक है, and all other men would be, it's like जैसा bees में culture होता है ना, there is a queen bee, ठीक है, who will only do the reproduction, and others would be the labor bee, That means they will only do the taking care of the children and all of that, honey banana, and they're the queen bee jo she does only the reproduction. So much like that, man, there'll be one man who will keep all the women to himself, and other men will not get anything, and they will take care of the labor, everything else. Okay? So one day this all men got a lot angry with this man, this who kept all women to himself. They all killed him. Okay? But later they felt a lot sad about what they did. Okay? So from there the concept of totemism must have come in. Like, you know, they thought that this man's spirit must have gone into some animal or plant that they started to worship, right? Something like that. And also Sigmund Freud believes there's another story that is there. I'll tell you. Basically क्या होता है, when children are, you know, young, so they do not control themselves. Anything if untowards happen, and if they are into a crisis, they immediately look for their parents because they think they are all powerful and they will take care of any problem that has happened, right? So jab this young boy or girl, when they become you know, adults, right, and when unfortunately the parents are old and they become helpless, so these adults, when they get into a fix, in a situation where they can look up to nobody else now, because there is nobody older than them to take who can take the responsibility, so then they turn to the god, right? Because then unka fear, anxiety kam karne ke liye there is nobody, right? Their angst, their fear, there's nobody to contain that, there's nobody to help them, so then they look you know, to somebody, they put their faith into somebody, right? And that's God. So this is what psychology is, and Sigmund Freud talks about this psychology. So he says basically is wajah se the religion must have come in, because man needs some kind of satisfaction, some kind of peace, theek hai, at all stages of man's life. So at a point where it can look up to nobody, so it has to look somewhere for that satisfaction, that peace, that harmony, right? And then Carl Jung's therapeutic theory. Basically he was the student of Sigmund Freud only, and he said ki he differed a little from the theory of Sigmund Freud, because what Sigmund Freud was saying ki it was only for, you know, to contain the angst, the fear of man. But Carl Jung ऐसे बोलते थे कि it's not like that. The religion has a role to play in all levels of development of man. मतलब हर level पे it is going to help the man. So it said it is therapeutic. That means it will calm the mind. You know, it has a soothing effect on the mind of the people. So whenever they feel anything, religion heals them. ठीक है? Not only the crisis situation, but also the good things, है ना? Whenever something good happens, we ultimately say na, thanks God, you did this for us, जो भी है. So it's not at only crisis situation, but at all levels of development of man. So this was the theory of Carl Jung, right? And the whole criticism that is there for psychoanalytic theory is that it limited the religion to individual's psyche. ये क्या बात करें? It is basically talking about individual and how it helps to contain its fears, anxieties, emotions, right? Its development. But religion is not only individualistic, right? We had just talked about it. It is collective also. What about the collective religion? What about the collective psyche? Because religion, as much as it is individualistic, it is also a collective psyche. That means religion के जो rules हैं, जो रिचुअल्स हैं, जो कस्टम्स हैं, वो बहुत ज़्यादा कलेक्टिव भी तो हैं. सो psychoanalytic theory doesn't talk about that. Psychoanalytic approach doesn't talk about that. So I have just limited the topic for today to this much only, because there are a lot of approaches that we have to study, and from that only we will cover most of the the chapter itself, and it is a very important topic indeed in the religion. So guys, I hope you like the lecture. Tomorrow I'll come up with more content and topics. So please guys, do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.